This podcast is brought to you by Fandom Spotlight. Check us out at fandomspotlight.com. Have fun and follow your fandom.
Anime, we have your attention, please, and welcome to a very special episode of Dragon Ball for Life. You know who Matt and Trav are, so we're not going to do too much by the way as an intro because I just want to get to it. I'm so excited for this guest that we have on. He's a man that goes by many titles. Great father, black excellence, someone I call a friend, but the one title that matters the most, the one that rings true, that echoes throughout the ethos of nerd culture. He is the hardest working man in comics. It's not a rumor, that's a fact, ladies and gentlemen. We have on the show Mr. Victor Dandridge.
Yo, that intro.
Max, like sell Max.
I'm literally gonna play this at every convention I go to before I get on stage.
Please do. Please do.
We're gonna have like a whole wrestling intro to this. I'm gonna have that play.
You gotta have the Bulls music.
Arm versus Project. I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna throw dust in the air.
He said, like starting at moderator.
Yeah. The Chicago Bulls theme comes in.
You know what I'm saying? 5'11", 215
from St. Vincent St. Mary's.
It's like in interviews where the first question is like, so tell me a little bit about yourself. You just play Matt's intro.
That's it. Like,
oh, you want to know about me? Click. You have a guy. You just snap.
Yeah.
No. Because based on where I'm at, I gotta get it. Like I gotta have like a hip hop remix version based on the region that I'm in. It's like if I'm down south, there's a chopped and screwed version of it.
There you go.
He's a good dad. Like it's gonna be amazing.
Facts.
He's a good dad.
Everyone's just like, yo, when did you Bluetooth to the speakers?
Yeah.
Like, when did you connect to the sound system?
When am I not though? Like that's the question. You know.
You got one. You got one in Jersey. You got the Maryland got the Baltimore club music. And we got Victor Dandridge.
Kill him. I got the throwback go-go version. Y'all not even ready.
There you go. The DMV version.
You know what I'm saying?
In New Orleans, you just got mad saxophones and horns behind you.
No, the New Orleans version, you got to do the Lil Wayne lighter light before the start.
No. If I'm down south in the NOLA, it's got to have like a live band. But it's a bunch of kids just from the street, like just a bunch of kids from the street.
Facts.
We just gonna run it like that.
They're African children for some reason.
You know,
every time,
like they just have those on deck, like
wearing non-weather appropriate clothing. y'all not hot. Y'all been out here all day.
I'm paying them in beignets. It's real. Cafe Du Monde for everybody. Let's go.
Beignets and jambalaya.
Straight up,
if you really set it off, I got some crawdads for you in the back.
You gotta play though.
You gotta play.
I gotta feel it in here. Okay?
It's like when I say this, that's when you start playing.
That's when you.
This is your cue in.
Don't be late. Okay. You ever see Whiplash? I will
hit
throw
your mark
at you.
Oh man, that took. I was in band in middle school. That took. My music teacher wasn't that bad, but that definitely gave me like PTSD.
He was like, no.
Like
He was early.
I'm sorry, Mr. Zisk. I apologize. I thought it was a D, not a C.
Oh my god. But no, thank you guys for having me on. Obviously, this is friendship here. This is what we do. It's crazy to think like we haven't known each other that long. And then, like we've never been in the same space. Travis, even less that I've known you, but
right.
we vibing for I don't know if y'all gonna leave it in, but we've got like almost like 2 hours of content before we start.
Right.
It'll find its way to the internet.
Yeah.
Right. For those
we get some fun together.
For those who are listening, we did a pre-interview call and like we were just saying like, well, You might not even have to write a brief or whatever, but it's just, we want to make sure that everyone who's listening, can learn more about you. Because I'm thinking, we'll start off, just getting your background, you talking about what you have going on, your upcoming projects, and then something's going to come up where we just rip.
Every time.
We just rip. We just rip.
Every time.
Like, we want to make sure we get out, the important stuff of, where they can find you and everything. And then something's going to pop up.
And then we're going to talk about random. We're going to talk about random. No,
that's going to be the name of the episode. Interview with Victor Dandridge. #Rifting 101.
Rifting. Let's go.
I released a creative brief at some point. It's like, here are all the questions that we did not even cover.
We got to make that post.
Okay. Since you guys sent me the brief, I will type up an answer to everything. So that way, if you need to, if we don't even get to stuff, you'll have that answer. You'll just be able to post like, by the way, Vic would have said this.
Had we got to the questions, this would have been his answer.
Yeah, you just separately record like your answers and just send us in bits and pieces. Those are our promo clips actually, and then they listen to the interview. None of that's in there.
None of that.
Or we get Mike to splice him in, and it's weird because it doesn't match the energy of the episode.
They think we're about to have like an ad come in, and it's just Vic answering a question.
It's like we're laughing like this, and then it cuts. So Victor, how'd you get in the comics? And then you answer, and it cuts back to some shit.
Back, like, no.
Yeah, so like Gohan was wilding, like.
Yo, that's
man.
Too funny. That's too funny. All right, so I will give some credence to that though, real quick, fast. So I got into comics because I was a kid that didn't like to read. Are you guys readers? Like avid readers? Were you always avid readers?
I used to, but
I'm more now than I've ever been before.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I as a kid, I didn't like books. Like there was nothing. It wasn't like I had any difficulties reading. It was like the content was whack. Like as a black kid in the early '90s, you give me Huck Finn, I don't care. Like I don't care. Right?
I'll watch the movie.
I barely did that, right? Because I was like, he's calling people niggas a lot in this book. Like I don't know,
quite a bit.
I'm good. So like I wasn't a fan of reading, but I love pop culture. I love movies. I love music, things like that. And like I would watch the news. And so when they announced on the news that Superman's gonna die, which is celebrating 30 years like this November, this is crazy. I feel old.
Oh, Death of Superman?
Yes.
Classic.
So, I know, right? They announced that Superman's gonna die, and I'm like, I want to read that. Like, because I'm like, how do you kill Superman? Like, it's, I didn't think of it as a marketing thing. I'm like, yo, there's a story that they're gonna kill Superman. How do you do that? And so,
spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't read the comic.
It's 30 years, yo. Like, they made two movies. Okay.
Look, Trav just finished Game of Thrones.
Yeah, definitely.
Are you mad like us though? Are you mad like us? Like, where are you at with it?
Yeah, I was very. It was underwhelming. I was just like, all that build up for that.
Have you ever heard the irony as to what happened with the final season? So,
no, what do you mean?
What was it? It was season 7, right? 7 or 8.
8 was the last one.
So halfway through 7, Dan and David, is that the two guys who they got offered a Star Wars movie?
Yes.
Like Disney was just like, yo, we want y'all to make like a new trilogy, like the Rian Johnson trilogy that's gonna happen now. That was supposed to be Dan and David's. Yeah. So my theory is, because they've always said, like, they've been very open, like Star Wars is what got them into filmmaking. Like that's always been their dream. So like halfway through season 6, they got offered the Star Wars movie, and it was just like, yo, when you're done with Thrones, come over and make the Star Wars movie. So like my theory is, and I feel like it's kind of been confirmed without ever being confirmed, is that they totally phoned in season 8 to try to hurry up to go make the Star Wars movie. But the karmatic fun of all of this is season 8 was so negatively received that Disney rescinded their offer.
Dang!
They was just like, we don't want y'all doing Star Wars no more.
You talk about learn today?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just like, while shooting season 8, they were like prepping, like writing the script, getting everything ready to like get off HBO, go over to Disney, like do the Star Wars, and then 8 dropped. It was, critically not acclaimed, like, whatever the opposite of acclaimed is. Listen, and it was
Andre
like,
3000 says you're only as good as your last album,
right?
Yeah,
and
man.
You got to remember that. That's the way this business works. That's the way it works.
And it's funny to think about that when, like, how people will, they'll take note of that stuff. I mean, like, it reminds me of, like, a phone screen that I had, like, to go into an interview. Where it was like, well, so would you need to put in 2 weeks? And I was like, I want to make sure that maybe 3, because I want to make sure that I'm putting my team in a good place, even with a transition plan, so that, they're not left high and dry. And then they're like, oh, well, but that's something we really like to see on someone in their team. It's like, see, like you
gotta show, like, hey, I wouldn't just leave on you like that.
Right? Exactly.
They're like, because if you get something else, will you just phone in for Star Wars? Like, we can't have that.
Yeah.
Yo, and that's what Disney was just like. They was like, damn. I mean, because up until 7 was basically the source material, and then 7 they started freestyling a bit, and then 8 was all new shit. So Disney was basically like, oh, y'all only can cook when George R. Martin gives y'all the plots, but by yourselves, y'all are ass.
Okay.
They was just like, we're catching enough shit for The Last Jedi.
Exactly.
We don't need y'all around here.
You can recognize a good story, but you can't write a good story. Okay, good.
Yeah, so they got their off report, and I was like, what the fuck would you get?
I mean, let that be a lesson.
Do your job until it's complete.
Because like we thought you were going to provide the script, but seeing what you can do on your own,
never mind. We good.
Salty balls, salty. Especially because, like, I mean, the whole Rian Johnson thing, like, you saw how they responded to negative criticism. Mm-hmm. It's not that Rian Johnson did a bad job. It's just there's a lot of people that just wasn't rocking with it. So if they're not rocking with it, Disney's like, nah, we don't need to. We can pull somebody else.
We Disney.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Don't think that we don't got like Steven Spielberg in our back pocket. We gonna play that card. Like that's big Joker. Like, can you imagine that though? If you thought you had like a Disney job on anything, and they're like, nah, we're gonna give it to Steven Spielberg. Like, can you get mad? Are you allowed?
Right.
They be like, yo, you better stop playing before we go unthaw Walt.
Man, he back here.
You know he in the basement. He in the basement. We'll go unthaw him.
It's nothing but a neck and some wires, but we will push the button.
I will plug him in. Stop playing.
Keep going.
It's like you're trying to vent to your friends, like, oh damn, so who they replace you with? Spielberg, you like, oh damn, well,
right? You like, oh word, that sounds good.
Like, wow,
your friend gets hyped for that project.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Spielberg's doing it.
Oh, he probably gonna do though.
When's that dropping? When's that dropping?
Can we buy tickets? Can we buy tickets now? You like, bro, you're supposed to be boycotting. Oh, that's what you wanted me to do.
Like, since it was yours, are they gonna let you go to the screener? You got a plus one?
Come on, man.
Or you're trying to spin it in a way where you're like, well, actually, if you think about it, you're kind of in like it was you or Spielberg, so you should really think about
hype, bro. You should feel hype. They needed Spielberg to replace you, dog. Like,
you gotta be like. You guys be like, bro, it's Spielberg. Like, come on. It's Spielberg. And it's like, it's Spielberg. And they're like, you right. Yeah, you right. You flip it on the inside, like, Spielberg about to body this shit.
The only thing would be worse though is if Spielberg was on some gangster shit. He's the one that showed up to your house to tell you, like, hey, you're not doing that project anymore.
Yo, could you imagine if that was like your idol? So like you just saw, oh my God, Steven. And he was like, he's like, oh my God, can I get an autograph? He was like, before we get to that.
It's like, we're working on this together?
No.
There is no way.
Let's see if you still want one after this.
No, he would start signing it for you and then he's telling you the story. Like, so listen, that last game.
You're not even looking at you. You're not even making eye contact.
It wasn't up to snuff. So you take that.
Disney's decided to go in another direction. Look, he don't even say it's him. Disney's decided to go in another direction. Like, damn, who'd they pick? He'd be like, it's me.
Yeah. No, come on. It's Steven Spielberg, bro. He would pause with it.
He's just going to say, he's Spielberg. He's
third person. He's like, no, this is not a Spielberg joke. You'd be like, wait, like you're producing? And he's like,
yeah.
A little bit more involved. A little bit more involved.
So you could say that.
He said, "Oh, you EPing? Yeah, that's a word for it."
A little bit more than that, actually. A little bit more than that.
Like, can I look at that contract real quick?
Yeah. You're
I don't see my name on here.
You're like, yeah, no. This is no longer a film by you. This is a film by. Yeah.
But I think you have a
And then he hands you a ticket to the movie. Like, here's a ticket. Here's a ticket for when it comes out.
It's a golden ticket, though. It's a golden ticket.
Facts.
He's like,
you get free snacks at the concessions.
it doesn't matter what theater you go to.
You're good.
Here you go.
You're good anywhere.
And this is for Regal. You don't even get like the Sundance Festival invite, like
the Chinese theater. You get the Gen Pop ticket.
2D.
Facts. You're like, yo, this expires in 7 months, so be quick. Be quick.
The movie don't come out for another year. Sorry.
Well, adult tickets cost $21.95.
Hey, if you go in Delaware, there's no tax. There you go.
Book your Airbnb right now. It'll be good. You'll save.
How did we get here?
Oh yeah. Tell us more about your background.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay, so like I said, I didn't like
comics.
I didn't like to read. I was a Spielberg fan, of course. But no, my mom heard me say that, and so she came home because she worked at one of our local big malls at the time, and they had a Lazarus as an anchor store, and on the 5th floor of this Lazarus was a comic shop. And so she comes home the next day with a stack of books and is like, read these. And instantly I fell in love. Like, I was like, this is what stories could be like. Why do you give me these lame things with all these different words when there's pictures and pow and boom and it's telling great stories? Like, this is it for me. Like, this is what I love. And literally fell in love with comics. Wanted to read them all the time. Started telling like my dad's side of the family that I got into comics. And they're like, you like comics? And mind you, like, I'm like 10 years old at this point, and my dad's side of the family, all sports, like football, basketball, like they're sports dudes. Like, it's just like my dad was the 6th of 7 brothers. Like, that's all they did was play sports. So to hear like there was anything geeky about them, never heard any of that stuff. Right?
Like,
and I see people like all the time, and they look at me and they're like, well, you played sports. No, don't let these shoulders fool you. These came in after I graduated from high school. I ordered these from Amazon. Like, this is not what I look like in high school. I was
free 2-day shipping.
Man, no, it was overnight. I had to get these shoulders.
He said, I primed these.
I gotta get these shoulders, man. But like, so like I'm finding out like 3 of my uncles could draw, and I'm like, I'm 10 years old and y'all just now telling me this? Like, what? And so it just opened up a whole new side of my family dynamic with them. Now, this is where the origin story gets a little sad. After about a year of me getting into comics, drawing with my uncles, the youngest of my uncles, my Uncle Mark, who was like arguably one of the loudest supporters of me early on, because he was like, well, we love comics and we could draw, but at the time you had to live in New York in order to get into comics, and we weren't leaving Columbus. Like, that's not practical. That wasn't a thing. He's like, but you're going to figure it out. You're going to get into comics and you're going to do something. So a year in, he's a victim of violent crime. Some kids jump him. He was a Marine. He was holding his own, and then at some point got tired, things changed, and he got murdered. And this all, like, it was the worst week for my father's side of the family, because like the week before, suddenly, inexplicably, I got stricken with what they ruled was encephalitis. And this is something like, this is like March, early 90s, March, freezing cold out. Encephalitis is something like you would get from a tropical region through like mosquitoes. Nothing that I should have encountered at the time in Columbus, Ohio. Like, not even close.
In the winter.
Not at all. Like, you're lying. Like, that's like, and it was so bad. Like, I had like grand mal seizures. I got put into a coma for a day, and then they had trouble bringing me out of it. Like, it was crazy. And then at the tail end of this, my uncle gets killed. And so, like, for my dad's side of the family, it's like one of the darkest timeline like things ever. For me personally, it was my Peter Parker, Bruce Wayne movie,
superhero origin story.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, vow by candlelight, I'm going to make something of myself in comics in honor of my uncle, who told me at the onset, you're going to be able to figure out how to do this. And so that's kind of been like my guiding force since I was like 11 years old. And so that was it. Like it pushed me through school. It pushed me like into business. Like whenever I'm getting a little tired and I'm like, yo, like, man, let me not do this or let me not do that. Like I hear my uncle like, you said, and I'm like, you right. Let me knuckle up. Let me get back to it. Let me just take a power nap and just jump back in because this is what I said I was going to do. And truth be told, I love this. So yeah, that's how I got in, man. It was I didn't like to read. Comics put me on. Death of a family member that was truly supportive, and I'm like, this is what I'm doing forever. Then, like, that's just it. So,
oh yeah,
that's
Boot
it, man.
And motherfucking Rally.
That's
what I like to hear. So on a serious note, sticking with that, because the range, we do it all. Like, so I went to acting school and everything, and that's always been my like performance. If you couldn't tell, it's always kind of been my passion and everything. So like, as someone who's like, because I speak very highly of you all the time. So it's for someone who is very like arrived in the comic book, like not foot isn't in the door. I feel like you're in that bitch.
You feel like
I feel like you're in that bitch. Yeah, he's like, ha, I'm here. So like, is there ever a time, or have you ever felt, because it's like now it's a business, like it affects like your love of comics because now you're like doing it in a professional way. Like you're peeking behind the green curtain and it's not all roses.
So it's so funny that you asked that. A couple years back, when I had been on the comic like con market for a little while, specifically with Wizard World. One time for Wizard World, they're now part of the Fan Expo family, but the Wizard World brand will always live in my heart. I actually was talking to some more established names, and they were like, "How come you're always so happy?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "You're like mad happy to be here like all the time." And I realized like in a lot of ways, there's things that have happened in the business to them that have made them a little jaded. They're disappointed, this, that, and the other. Nothing like that is ever happening. And I don't know if it's just been insane luck or just my own perspective that whatever happens, there is some way for me to get around it, get out of it. Like like I said, I was a geeky kid, but I think I have like a hustler's mentality. And so you kind of have to have that idea. Like I wasn't out in the streets, pushing yay or nothing like that. But like to have that idea of like, if the cops are coming, I got to figure out how I'm going to ditch this, but still come back and make my money. I got to figure it out. Like it's life or death. That's just what it is. And that's kind of how I approach this. So even when something goes left, I'm looking for, well, how can I make something out of this? Some positive step forward out of this fallback. Like there's got to be one. Because really, I mean, this is just comics, so it's not going to kill me to take a step back to leap forward. So I just got to figure out what it's going to be. And that's always been my move. So it's never been a place or a space for me where I'm like, dang, this is too much. I can't believe this happened. I'm done. Like, that's never been the case for me. And maybe I haven't reached high enough for that to hit that ceiling, but that's
says who?
I mean, I'm just saying, like that's it's that thing. Like there's never been a situation where I've not been able to respond positively, even if the framework for it is something negative. That's always my thing. Is just be the guy that can smile through it, because that will always open doors better than anything.
Yeah. That's love, because I feel like I reference this interview all the time. But I remember Matt Damon had did an interview and he was saying like the best thing that ever happened to him in life was winning that Oscar so early for Good Will Hunting, because he was just like, yo, he's like, when I got it, he said, all the validation I thought that I was gonna receive for my like internally, he was like, I got it, and he was just like, and he was just like, he's like, I can't imagine actors who do this for 60 years and like that's their white rabbit, and then it's just like they went through their whole life chasing this and then they got it, and it's just like they're not any more happy on the other side of that victory. So he was just like, getting that so early, he's like, it like let me know that like that's not even the focus. Like, the awards, they come and go. It's like, but making that the motivation, he was just like, you get it, and then like you essentially you break your own heart, because it's like, I got it. Yeah, like you said, like now what? Like what do I do? What do I do? Because that behind the scenes shit is gross sometimes in the entertainment industry.
It can. And I implore anybody that's listening, if there's something that you want to do, find people that are talking about what it's like to be in it. Because it is one thing for us to look at something and be like, oh, it's all glitzy and glamour and that's it. Nah, you got to learn how to deal with some stuff that you never would have thought you'd have to deal with. Like, as we're talking, okay, so in terms of me being in comics, I am a comic book writer, publisher, but when in the Comic Con market, I'm a guy that's on stage with celebs and creators interviewing them. And right now we're dealing with some very interesting times that have come out within the last 4 years or so, where celebs will say things that are politically not necessarily kosher to your vibe, right? Like they're on something else. Well, what happens when you're still supposed to do your job and showcase them and their talent? You got to figure that out. And just recently, like, I've been paired with some folks that have very right-leaning, ideologies from my very left-leaning ideologies. And part of the thing that opened me up to work with them was I asked for it. Because other people were like, well, I don't want to work with them because they said this and this, and I'm not on that. I don't want to work with them. And I'm like, give them to me. And people are like, wait, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, give them to me. My job
I'll take it.
is to, like, dude, like, that's because I lean into the difficulty, right? Like, that's something that I'm like, how do we have a good conversation right now? Like, how can we do that? And if I can do that, I can talk to anybody. Like, I don't even agree with you and we can have a good conversation. Not even like a debate. It's not about that. Because when I'm on stage with these people, it's not about me attacking their ideas. It's how do I make them seem like a good person in spite of anything that they might have said that someone didn't agree with. Let's talk about the good things that they've done.
Vic said, I'll take Dean.
Dude, bro, that's me, bro. I swear to God. Like, that is so me. That is not even a joke.
Give him to me.
Like, that is real talk. I've worked with Dean. I just worked with him this past March.
There you go.
And, like for real. And,
I pay attention to your work.
Bro.
That wasn't a random joke.
You did the interview prep.
I got you. But no, like, I've been, most recently, Gina Carano. And there's a lot of people that were feeling a certain kind of way about her. And I'm like, yo, like, let's just have a good conversation. Like, let's just talk. And it's one of those things where, like, yes, I'm fully aware that my reputation could be on the line because I'm doing my job, right? My job is to protect the celeb, no matter who they are, from, incendiary questions, from the audience, from me, even. Like, I'm supposed to have like a good conversation that celebrates them, their work, to their fans. How that can go, it could go left in a heartbeat, like, without question. I try to, disarm with humor, show love, try to find that thing that connects us all. Like, hey, you're a cool human being. Like, I might not agree with everything you say, but you're a cool human being, right? Like, big facts in respect to the fact that you're here, present with all of us. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, sharing your time, whatever. Yes, you're getting paid to do it, but that's secondary, because I'm getting paid to do it. Shoot, so I can't be mad at you. So, like, let's live in that space and create just like 45 minutes of positivity. And we're gonna see little waves and ups and flows and whatever of their ideologies sneaking out, or in some cases finding out things that, like, will surprise you. Like, maybe you heard them say something, but then you talk to them, you're like, you're not like that all the time. Oh, they caught you in a moment and people jumped on you, and maybe, because this group of people backed you, and you kind of are a little gooey on the inside, so you needed that backing, and so you just kind of rode with what these other people said. But that's not you. Okay, well, I see that, and I can respect that. Like, I can understand it because that's human. Right? Like, it's not like, oh, you false. It's like, nah, you got caught with your pants down and you were embarrassed, and the only people that came to your support, you kind of needed that for the moment.
Yeah, Twitter mob mentality is a real thing.
It's ugly.
Has there ever been a moment where a fan has asked someone that you're interviewing a question, or they said something where you're like, you know what, let me try to divert away from this and, like, try to change up the subject?
Absolutely. This was back in 2016. This is my second show that I ever moderated for. We were in Pittsburgh, right? Evan Peters.
Pittsburgh.
I know, right? Big shout out. Evan Peters. It is days before the election, the 2016 election, and this girl stands up and asks him who's he voting for, and I immediately jump on that grenade. Like, nope. I was like, politics are divisive. We are not here to be divisive. We are fans of his. Everybody in this space right now loves something about this man. We're going to focus on that and that only. Because anything he says, someone's going to get mad about. Exactly. So let's not do that at all.
And that'll be the headline. That's
Bro.
chopped from the interview.
Even if he says like, yeah, I'm not voting, the headline, Evan Peters doesn't care about America.
Care about
Right.
It would have been something, some way, shape, or form. It would have been bad. And so, like I said, it was only my second show that I'd ever like done celeb moderating for. And so he sent word through security because one of my guys, big shout out to Vincent, he came back to me later and was like, yo, he was so thankful that you did that. He was like, because he was caught off guard. He didn't know what to say. And he was like, the way you jumped in was like, nah, we not doing that. He was like, he was so thankful that you did that because you saved him from having to give a bad answer. Like, no matter what it was going to be a bad answer to somebody. He's like, you saved him. And he's like, dude, he's singing your praises right now. Like, that guy was excellent because of that one moment. And
there we go.
It was cool. It was cool.
He'd have been like, Chancellor Palpatine.
Right. He'd have like, yes. Somebody would be like, he's pro-empire. You know what that means? You know, like,
let's get it.
Let's go.
Dwayne Johnson.
Like The Rock. But The Rock means, you know, like there would be somebody that would have.
So you don't like Stone Cold?
Right. You know, right. Oh, so you don't vote for the Rudy Poo candy asses is what you're telling me. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
I got you.
Okay. Really, Evan? Yeah. Really?
Now, I will say one that was very wild, but it didn't come to fruition was Kate Beckinsale. This is
they asked her about Pete Davidson.
No, okay. So nobody asked. So this is the part that made it wild. Nobody asked the question that was crazy. It was before we went on stage. I was told that she had a known stalker. Like, they had pictures of this dude all around the show. It was like, he's not allowed in the building. But if he came in cosplay, we can't make people unmasked to prove that it's not him. So they're like, okay. They said, listen, if he shows up and he asks anything that's kind of weird, you have to deflect that.
Tackle him.
So wait. So we got that deep, bro, because there's like, if he pulls a weapon, you have to make sure that Kate gets out of here. And I'm like, I am a moderator, not security.
She is underworld. She got this.
Bro, like she can.
That is Celine.
I just got these shoulders shipped in. I haven't broken them in yet.
Listen,
like,
I just installed on these is still like I still got to put a premium down. So
yeah.
I can't do. Can you bite me right quick? Like, just let me, get me good so I can. Like, they were.
She is Celine, and she was in Van Helsing. She got this.
Like, she can handle this guy. But they literally were like, if he pulls a weapon, you have to jump in front. And I'm like, what? Like, are you?
Mark.
I'm here to interview. I could get shot over an interview.
Like, was that in the contract? I don't think so.
And I don't remember signing that one. That was such a wild moment because, like, I'm trying to be cool, but I'm literally
looking in the crowd
every time, like, yeah. Like, it was wild, bro. The energy,
like that's
insane.
him. No one likes Yamcha enough to cosplay.
Like, man, like
that's him right there.
That's him. You know. Don't nobody know who Spider-Ham is yet? Get him! Like, that's, you know, like that. It was crazy. You know?
Android 19, bullshit. That's him.
Dr. Giroux, I think not.
Right.
You know, Capsule Core Worker number 6? No. Like, this
liar.
Yeah. That's that dude right there. You know.
Trunks from GT, that's definitely him. Get him. No one would wear that Dickie short
Nobody
set.
would wear that. Get out of here. We know that's you, bro. So like, yeah. So like, there have been experiences where things get a little like interesting, but like part of my job when I set things up, and it's true. Like, I'll set this up, and I will use the fact that I kind of look a certain way, where I'm like, it's all fun and games, but don't get it twisted. Like, I will
shoulders.
Like, I will fit you. Don't think I won't. So I'll tell people like, hey, let's keep it good. Don't, if you say something inappropriate, I'm gonna throw a shoe at you. Like, and trust me, my aim is real. Like, ask the kids, they'll tell you. Like,
he said, I'm an above average chicleta thrower.
I go, like, I got you.
So you thought granola was nice. I don't know.
Yeah, nah. Like, listen, I'm throwing a shoe and I'm following with a belt. Don't play with me.
Back to back.
Watch, like, I'm hitting you double time. Hootie Tang, I got nothing on me. Like, what? Like,
they go like, how did he beat his shoe to me? He got here before the shoe he threw.
Right. It's like what Charlie Murphy said. He said, "What, Pat? I challenge you to a duel. They had a gunfight afterwards. Somebody had to go.
Somebody had to go.
It's real. It's so real. So I do establish that stuff up front. Like, hey, don't be dumb. Like, don't be dumb. You will get asked to leave. At worst, I'm gonna have security come pull you out in the back, and we're gonna talk to you rough. Like, keep playing. Like, we're not doing that.
Did you ever have a moment where you were like, it really tested your patience? Where you're like, look, I'm in a professional setting, but I'm so close to.
What? But it was okay. I won't say who this was.
Right? No, yeah, you don't. Yeah, no, you don't have to.
What I will say is that this was a celeb who showed up late to a panel that was just them. Right? All I was supposed to do was intro for this person, and they were like 15, borderline 20 minutes late for
we needed to fill the time.
Yeah.
So I'm getting ready. I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for him. Not even like out on stage filling time. Like, I'm waiting backstage for them to come out because I'm just supposed to do this quick intro, and I'm thinking of what I'm going to say. When they finally meander in, they give me this list of things that they want to say, not like actually written down. They tell me, like, I want you to say this. Da 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 da. And it's a good paragraph. Like, he's had it memorized. I'm like, good for you. I am not that person. Like, I'm like, if you wanted me to say all of that, like, this should have been written down. This should have been given to me 15 minutes ago, so I could have been practicing it while you were late. Whatever. So I'm trying my best to remember this and rush out on stage so we can get this panel started, because he's got a good crowd of people that have been waiting for him. So I get out there and I fumble through it, and I know I'm going to fumble through it because I've just heard this thing once and I'm supposed to repeat it verbatim. Like, not going to happen. And so as I do it, say it, I'm coming back to pass him the microphone. He's like, you fucked that up, right? And I'm like, next time don't be late.
Wow.
So, hey,
next time don't be late. And it's like, he kind of gives me that look like, what? And I was like, you heard me? And I just kept it moving. Like, pure. I go to the show manager and I tell them what happened. And I'm like, yo, if he's mad, this is the situation. Okay, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like, I'm not gonna lie. This is what happened. This is what I said. Now. And so, because I'm of the stern belief that if you heard it from me, you can't get as mad, right? Like, if somebody else comes like, well, this is what Victor did, then you can be mad at me. But if I come to you like, yo, I did this.
Yeah.
That's me.
My life,
you can tell me right now.
My life has been one big asking forgiveness, not permission. That's my creed.
That's real talk. So yeah, that one was the closest to any sort of like contestation sort of thing. And I've never seen this dude at a show again. Like, I don't know if that had anything to do with it.
You got him kicked off the concert.
I'm not going to say that. But I've never seen him at a show again. And this has been a couple of years. And he is a big name. Like this is a person, like, when they do stuff, people are like, oh, I'm coming to that. Like, I'm going.
He sees your name on the panel list and he's just, I got something else going on.
I'm not coming.
Wink if you're the reason Ed Norton isn't the Hulk anymore.
No.
He said, you're not going to jam me up.
It's not me. I love Ed Norton.
He said, Ed, I fucked up your intro? I fucked up your intro, Ed? All right.
You mad? You think right. You big, dog? I still remember American History X, dog. I don't appreciate your tone. You had dudes biting curves, my guy? Man, run one outside. We got to run one outside. I need 3 minutes.
He said, I'm about to take you from Italian job to not having a job.
You will score no more. Oh, okay.
He said, you about to go
real
from
Fight Club.
You about to go from Hulk to Salt. You about to be sad.
Hulk to Salt.
You better stop playing.
And the name of this episode now is From Hulk to Salt.
Hulk to Salt.
They're gonna think it's some real serious, somber episode.
Now they're gonna think y'all some She-Hulk haters. That's what that's
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna be like, toxic men hating on Megan Thee Stallion. Predictable.
Oh my god. Yo, okay. I know we run on tangents, but I gotta run on this tangent.
Let's get it.
How fire is the She-Hulk creative team to have that as an opening knowing that people were going to hate on them, because that is not something that they just filmed. Like, that is something that they had in the can, knowing people was going to be wilding about this.
Yeah, because they had announced that she was going to be in the show like months ago. Months ago. So the idea that they, like, anybody that's like, yeah, they ruined it, is like, yo, did you not watch the beginning of the episode where they called you out on your bullshit? Like, they told you that you was about to be like this. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, that was so good. That show's so good.
I love it.
It's so good. It's so good.
I love it.
It's funny because like all the Marvel shows that are the ones that is just like, yo, I've invested this much time, I might as well watch it. Those be like the best ones.
The best ones. Surprisingly. Because you're like, well, I mean, do I care? I'll watch it.
I've gone this far. Those be like the ones that, oh, this shit's amazing.
Like I'm watching it, like, because that was what I was telling my family. Because so funny enough, my lady and my daughter, my oldest daughter, who'll be 13 in like 2 weeks. We've been watching this show, and I'm like, yo, this is wild, because this show is really kind of mature, particularly like in reference to certain things with like my 13-year-old. Because like, I mean, the whole first episode, the joke about whether or not Steve Rogers fucks, like I was like,
cat fuck.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, she's old enough. She got to learn, right? Like this is the world she lives in. She's got to know what this is going to be like, right? Like, you know, she's highly intelligent. She's a beautiful young lady. So I want pop culture to give you some insight to what your life is going to be like as this beautiful black woman that you're becoming. Is it out of line with what the MCU kind of sets up? Sometimes, but at the same time, I'm like, hey, look at the diversity of storytelling that they're doing. Like, they're telling a mature, like, this is a show for grown-ups. It's a superhero show for grown-ups. It's not like Hawkeye, which is a family show at its core. You know, Falcon and Winter Soldier played with this a little bit. We already know, like, Bucky definitely hooked up with Sam's sister.
1,000 on the boat.
Out question.
He did it on.
You know what I'm saying?
He did that shit.
Yo, he definitely did that. You know, Sam's nephews are like, oh, so is Uncle Buck coming through? And he's like, Uncle
Buck. He was like, John Candy. No.
Right. He's like, don't call him that. Don't call him that. He's like, that's what mommy said to call him, was Uncle Buck.
Yeah, what you know about that movie?
Hey, classic, bro. Classic. You know what I'm saying? Classic.
Sam was just like, I love Uncle Buck. That's a great movie. Yeah, he's like, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Or as mommy calls him, the in her soldier. Like that's what
her soldier. So you never seen that movie?
Yeah.
Mommy got it. Dang. But yeah, so like this show, She-Hulk, is a very different show, and it's beautiful. I love the way that they're playing with stuff, and I'm laughing at everyone that's hater. That's, oh, I can't believe, like, people are like, oh, they made Hulk a girl. I'm like, She-Hulk is older than I am. I'm 40 years old. She-Hulk has been around longer than me. Y'all, you're a fake fan. Just admit you're a fake fan. You've never read a comic book before. Like, just say that. It's fine.
You've only been invested in the MCU specifically. You don't know nothing about the comic lore. Like, just say that.
You ain't even seen the Ang Lee Hulk yet. Like, you still like, there's another
oh my God.
You brand new. Okay? You brand new.
You just love it when people speak on things they just really just don't know anything about.
Yo!
He said, you thought Ed Norton was the original Hulk before I got him fired.
Right, like, get out of here.
It is so funny too when you talk to someone who might have just gotten into the Marvel universe through the movie, and then they do a quick, background research and realize all the longevity, the brevity of comic books that are out there, and it's just like, there's a lot of iterations out.
Yeah,
huge iterations. Yo, like, okay, so I'm gonna try to get my Twitter or TikTok followers up here.
There you go.
You guys find me, Hardest Working Man in Comics, HWMIC. I think it's VIC. Look up Victor Dandridge, okay? But
the easier way.
Yeah, the easier way. But I caused a little bit of a storm by commenting on the idea that Blade did not save Marvel Comics out of bankruptcy like so many people are reporting. Like, a lot of people are like, yeah, Blade is what turned it around. I'm like, no, it didn't. Like, it didn't actually do that. Blade is actually like a DC Comics movie. If you look at who made it, people are like, no, Blade's a Marvel character. I was like, that's not what I said. I said it's a DC Comics movie because it came out through through New Line Cinema. That was owned by Warner Brothers, who owns DC. Like, That's not like a Marvel Studios production. Like Marvel had nothing to do with it. Like they licensed that out. That didn't belong to them. And they're like, but no, it made so much money. I'm like, I really didn't.
I'm about to say.
You know, even going to people are like, well, it saved the industry for superheroes after Batman and Robin. I'm like, Batman and Robin came out like a year before. Like, it wasn't that long between. Like, what?
You just keep hitting with facts and facts.
That's it. But it's interesting to me how people anecdotally like will create these pop cultural stories and just believe that that's the truth. Man. Like that's like, nah, Iron Man's always been fire. No, he has not. Like
facts.
Wow.
Facts.
Wow.
Like, nah, I don't think so.
Yo, like pre Chris Hemsworth, no one was checking for Thor.
Never.
Not a one person. Yo. Not a one person. You
can get a cartoon series. Are you serious? We had Thor the Barbarian and we couldn't get Thor off? That's how bad Thor was. Okay? Like,
no one was checking for Thor. Yeah?
Nobody. Nobody was checking for him. Not for Cap. Like, stop the Cap. Okay, that was not real.
We weren't looking for Cap.
Yeah.
We were not looking for him. Iron Man, nope.
The only reason people fucked with Captain America was like because they picked him in Marvel vs. Capcom. Like,
that was it.
That's the only reason people knew about Captain America.
That was literally
to give it a butt when I was growing up in that game, I liked the Great American War Machine better than Iron Man because of some of his attacks.
It was doper, right?
Yeah.
1,000%.
Come on. Like
when he had that big
just take up the whole screen.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. Like these are pop cultural pieces that people were like, oh no, this has always been true. And I'm like, no, it hasn't. Like, read up a little bit. Like, it's interesting to see how this stuff changes. But like, you know, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Like for all the things that we have experienced in pop culture and geekdom, and to see how it frames or reframes and people come at it is crazy. Like the idea of you guys doing Dragon Ball for Life now, right? Dragon Ball was one of the first like regular animes that I ever watched. Mm-hmm. Like we're talking
our gateway drug for me,
right?
Getting into anime,
hell yeah.
But we're talking like more than 20 years ago, right?
Like probably longer than that,
right? But like the idea of what is Dragon Ball to us versus what Dragon Ball is to like my kids is something very different because they're like, oh, that's that old anime, and I'm like, old?
Oh, you watch your mouth,
right? Like, bro, it's not Astro Boy. Like, get out! Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
you know, they're like, yeah, Dragon Ball's like the first anime, and I'm like, no, what? Anime's been around for like since the 1950s. Like, what are you talking about?
We're not talking about Android Kakaider. Relax, relax.
Right. Listen. You know, you put some respect on Akira's name, okay?
Yeah. You know what I mean?
What?
So I'm not talking about Ronin Warriors, like
Ronin Warriors wasn't my shit.
Listen, I missed the bus that day that premiered, bro. I'm like, what is this?
Ronin Warriors was that.
My mom was like, "Hey, you missed the bus." Yeah. But hold on,
yeah, this looks kind of dope.
But this show,
I'm like, Dow G.
Yeah.
Yo, that was my joint. I love that.
That was a great show.
Oh my god.
Y'all feel like they never ended it. I feel like it just went off TV.
It just
it just stopped.
It just cut off. Like, for real. Like, it's definitely one of the dopest.
The shit that I always remember, because like I feel like they would always like Ronin Warriors would come on. One, I felt like there wasn't any sequence in time. I feel like they just put episodes out. Like there wasn't any there wasn't a through line. It would just be random episodes. And I remember it would always get to the part where they all got like spread away, and like Ryu had to like go find everybody in like their different element. I remember it would always get to that and then start back at the beginning of the show. I'm like, damn, like, did he find everyone?
They did y'all dirty. We at least in Ohio, we got it to go a little further than
that. Oh nah, bro.
We saw what happened with Anubis and the ancient one. Like we saw all that joint.
Bro, I just remember. I remember. I don't remember Sai, the one who was in space or the Strata. Yeah. I remember like he was trying to feel like, how the fuck am I gonna get to space? And it would like always start back from the beginning.
Dang. Yo, your channel only had syndication for the first 2.5 seasons.
Essentially, yo.
I saw this episode like months ago. exists.
Yeah, like wait a minute.
They just
Like,
switched out. It's
dang.
like, now we'll just throw on Dragon Ball. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same show.
Like, damn, can we finish the show, please?
You're like, nah, that's
Watching Goku and Frieza fight for the 500th time. There you go. All right.
Facts.
Like he.
Oh my god, that's so funny. That's so funny.
I weep for the youth that'll never get to appreciate the Faulkner score for Dragon Ball Z. I shed a tear for them, yo.
That's sincere. Yo, you know what? That's the thing, though. I got to give my love to Dragon Ball as a storytelling vehicle. How it has changed what its focus was, right? Like it has evolved to become what it is today as this fight manga. But that's not exactly what it was at first. Like it was an adventure joint, like
and with a lot of comedy too.
You got to find it. Yeah, like it's built-in versatility. That again, part of the pop cultural norm. You're like, oh, Dragon Ball, it's about fighting. It's like, no, that's not what it was originally about. You know, it was about wishes and Monkey King and like that type of storytelling stuff. It became something else out of popularity, and I think that's one of the cool things about it, of how it's changed and been something else to different audiences, either based on the show iteration or what have you. That's always been something I thought was like really cool about Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
It is trash though that we're just now getting girl Saiyans. I'm like,
right? Like
facts,
bro.
And not even from our universe.
Right. Like,
not even the main canon universe.
Yeah.
Just now thinking like, what if Saiyans had boobies?
Y'all just giving Goku a mom.
Right.
Like,
We're talking about his dad the whole time. You know.
And the thing is too, like when Dragon Ball came back with Battle of Gods, like it was just also a testament of just how strong the Dragon Ball community was. I mean, like I think it's so cool that Toyotaro was a fan manga artist. He did his own iteration of Dragon Ball AF, and now he's a full-time like he is now drawing the Dragon Ball Super manga. And I remember though, like whenever there was like fan artists and everything, you would see female Saiyans, and you're like, this is dope. Why hasn't Toriyama done this?
Why is this not canon? Like that's real. That's an interesting thing too, though. Like the way that they allow for fan creativity. Like they don't have the same stringent rules on copyright and stuff that we do over here. Like that would never happen. Right. You could never come through with like, oh, this is my version of Spider-Man. Like you will get a cease and desist so fast.
yeah.
It'll hurt.
Before you even hit send, you get a ring on your doorbell.
Yeah, like I've seen Toy Ball's Dragon Ball AF in like paperback format selling on like Amazon and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. Like
that's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. But it's the idea that they have that there is no such thing as diluting the IP. Like, you want to tell a story, tell a story. If it's dope,
all
it'll
press
stand.
is good press.
Right.
Helps
like
me out.
you'll never not stop my sales. And we learned that with Dragon Ball Evolution. Like, that didn't stop Dragon Ball at all. And that was a horrible movie.
Yeah. God awful.
Jesus.
I still tease James Marsden to this day. Like, so you were Piccolo. You decided
James Masterson.
The Masters. I'm sorry, not Marsden. Yeah. I was like, yo, you thought you could be Piccolo.
Yo,
like
you were great.
They fumbled the bag so bad.
That was terrible.
Not casting James Masterson as like a live action Wesker. It's like literally on a platter. Like it's literally on a platter. Like he served them up. Like you could like you had the guy off undressed. Like what? Like why?
Oh my. Big shout out to James though. That's my guy. He's been somebody that I've been cool with on the con circuit for a long time, and he's awesome.
Spike was the best character on Angel.
Facts. Facts.
Yo, so another tangent in a tangent.
Yeah.
The series finale of Angel might be one of the best series finales of any shows ever.
Yeah, I can definitely get that.
Like how you end the show? Like I don't know about you, but I'm trying to slay the dragon, and then no more show.
Yeah. What does that even mean? I don't know.
Can we get more episodes, please?
Sir,
come on, man. It's like nah, it's over.
It's over. Done.
Yeah. Big shout out to Charisma Carpenter. That's my homegirl. Love her on all the.
Oh, I love Charisma Carpenter.
Oh, that's my.
She might be like my original celebrity crush. Like.
You want me to have her call you?
Yeah. about to manifest that.
Listen. So have her listen to this podcast first, and then
I'll send it to her. I'm gonna send it to her. I'm like, yo, Matt loves you, by the way.
Look, I don't know what her ethnic group is, but it didn't crack. whatever it is, it didn't crack.
Hey, charisma is everything. I love her. I love her to life. That's my babe. I love her. She's fantastic. She's mad funny. Mad funny. Yeah, she's good people.
No, and then when we're talking about cons, we obviously asked you about what was a moment where you really were like, ah. Now, what was a super dope, super cool moment where you're like, I can continue to do this. Like this is something I just want to make a part of my everyday occupations.
That would definitely be my very first moderating gig.
Mm-hmm.
It was Tulsa, 2016. And Wizard asked me, they're like, hey, we had some behind the scene changes, whatever. Would you moderate a celeb? And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. I was the guy that I would say yes. Like whatever it was, I would say yes. And I was like, who do you got for me? And they're like, Sebastian Stan. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Wait.
Like, did I hear that correctly?
You want my first one to be Sebastian Stan, like the marquee star of the show that we're doing? Like that's what you want? And they're like, yeah, you'll be fine. And I'm like,
you got to.
all right, cool. Like, I guess that's what we doing. And so I give like my intro joint where I'm telling people like, hey, don't ask for hugs, kisses, like don't do any of that stuff. That gets awkward, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like almost to the end, right? And we got fan questions popping. And this girl walks up and she goes to ask a question and she just like breaks down. Like total fan out moment. She can't speak. Like she loses her voice. Like and then she like just starts crying, right? And like faster than anything, Sebastian hops up, runs, jumps off stage, rushes to this girl and just gives her a hug. And everybody loses their minds. Like everybody. And he's like, it's okay. Like, take your time, ask your question. And like, he like stands there while she asks the question and he answers it and hugs her again, comes back on stage. And I'm like, this is what I want to be a part of. Things like this. It was the first time like a clip that I had ever been featured in went viral on Tumblr and like all over the place. It was popping up. I know, right? Like, that's how old it was. Bro, like it was that. But like, that was the first time I'd ever been a part of something like that. And I was like, this is what it is. This is what I want. Of course, I had to turn it into a joke. Once he got back on stage, I was like, okay, nobody else pretend like you suddenly cried.
I was about to say, the very next person was going to be like,
right. It's like we had that moment.
We already had that moment. Don't do it no more. Don't do it no more. And, so like and he laughed about that. He was like, that was a great follow-up. And big shout out to Sebastian. Like we vibed well enough that, humble brag, I ended up getting added to his contract. Like when he went to a Wizard show, I was his designated moderator. Like that was per contract. Like you
talk your shit, King.
Yeah, hey, I'm out here.
I said, I want Victor.
That's like literally that was
dope,
part of the contract. Like there was my man Vincent was supposed to be his security and I was his moderator because we would just vibe and we would have a good time. Following on that one, we did a show. I think we were in St. Louis. And yeah, it was 2018. We were showing St. Louis, and there's a clip that comes out where this chick asks, which would you rather have? Not being able to tell the difference between a baby and a muffin, or you change gender every time you sneeze? Silly question. Totally ridiculous.
That's hilarious.
I want to know the origin behind the thought process of coming up with that question.
I want to is everything okay at home?
She had a bad batch of the reefer.
It was terrible. But the thing that makes that moment so great,
I don't want that strain.
My daughter just found that clip as like a weird sort of thing on YouTube. Somebody had like taken it and like edited that clip and like put in like emojis and stuff, and it got like mad funny. But she's like watching YouTube and sees this clip pop up randomly, and so she just happens to watch it, and it cuts over and shows her dad. And she's like, oh my God, like she like screamed. And I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, you're on YouTube. And I'm like, I've been on YouTube.
Like, man, thanks for the support.
Right, like, what are you talking about?
You're 10 years later.
That's what I've been doing.
Like, how do you think you eat? Like, so like
You see these lights?
She's like, oh my God,
See
right.
lights?
Like, these YouTube lights.
Them clothes you got, that YouTube outfit you got on.
Like she gets excited, and I'm like, wow. She's like, I didn't know like you did stuff like this, because she's. I tease her now because I'm like, now that you've become a teenager, you've become more aware of what I do.
Right.
And before, like, she was like, oh yeah, my dad does this, and it just didn't register to her, you know, in a certain way. But like this one popped up, and like she sent it to her friends. Like she was like, this is my dad. Like, and so it was this crazy moment.
Did you have a proud dad moment there?
I did, bro.
Yeah.
Like it was like I had a proud dad because she's a proud kid.
Yeah.
Like like she could have been like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. But she's like, that's my dad on stage with the Winter Soldier. Like, and it's a funny clip. It's mad funny.
And that's probably at the age. That's probably at the age where the kids like are like embarrassed by anything their parents do. You know,
Right.
so that was probably super cool.
Dude, that's like literally a couple of weeks ago. Like it just happened. I was like,
the funniest thing about that, you know, it's just funny like the way shit intertwines and connects. Like when I'm trying to have like main character energy and I'm like bragging about how we're friends, I referenced that you did the Sebastian Stan panel. I was like, yeah, my man Vicky's heavy in the con world. You've probably seen him. He did Sebastian Stan. Like that's I always leave. I always leave with that.
That's how I do it. That's how I do it, man. Listen, I'm famous adjacent, but I'll use it. Okay. Like I will say some stuff, but nah, it's that was definitely one that was a big one for me. You know, again, like I've worked with some incredible people. The amount of people that I didn't enjoy working with is so small it doesn't even count. Like,
hold up, wait a minute, let me put some part 2 in it. I know you guys are having a ball listening to this interview. Trust me and Trav had a ball doing this interview, but there's just way too much sauce happening just to fit all this in one part. So we're going to take a quick break here, let you refresh, let you cleanse your palates, reorganize your senses, get ready for this audio bliss, and we will see you next week on Dragon Ball Faux Life. Dodon Ray. Shout out to super producer Mikey. We'll see you on part 2. Bow.